let's all stand and sing together.
This is unfair. I'm on now. All right, go ahead and have a seat, everybody. I'm so glad that you are here today. Thank you for joining us online. How you guys doing? Let me know if you're on spring break where you're watching from, because we're stuck here in the cold. And for the rest of you that aren't on spring break, let us know where you want to be, because we're stuck here in the cold. All right? You made a great decision in joining us this morning, and I just want to thank you for being here this morning. And we believe that Genesis is a place where every great story begins. And we're going to talk about that this morning. We're really going to dive into what that means, what that looks like, and how here at Genesis we help you be a part of having a great story. And here's what we know. We know that every great story starts with Jesus. We also know that everyone needs a fresh start. So whether that is a second chance, looking for a clean slate. Maybe you had a rough week. I had a rough week. Middle schoolers are draining. And leading up to spring break, it's a long span of time where they just don't have a break, and then they just take it out on teachers. And it's brutal. And we got teachers all scattered across the room. I know you guys agree. So I'm glad to be here this morning. I'm glad that I don't see a bunch of middle schoolers in the room, or any of my middle schoolers in the room. If you're watching and you're one of my students, thank you for watching. But here at Genesis, we're going to help you find and follow Jesus. And on your way in, on your seat, you should have had a connection card. Looks something like this. If you're a regular attender or a member, you can just give us any information that's changed, anything that we have to update so we can stay in contact with you. If you're saying, hey, how come I didn't hear about this announcement? We don't know how to contact you. So help us out, give us some information. If you're new with us, give us any information that you are comfortable sharing. That way we can shower you with gifts, we can contact you, we can invite you to different events that we have going on. We can get you plugged in here, and that just helps us go a long way. We have a little goodie bag for you, just a way of saying thank you for being here. You can get that on your way out right by the main entrance, and that's just a gift saying thank you for being here. We know there's a lot of unknown coming to a new church for the first time. It's uncomfortable, there's questions, and we want to make this as easy and as comfortable as possible. So this is just a gift from us to you, a way to say thank you. Some upcoming events. We have 2 services for Easter Sunday. We are running a 9:30 and an 11:15. So plan on being here. Invite your friends, family, coworkers to any of those services, 9:30 or 11:15. We also have a baptism on that day. And if you want to sign up for the baptism, then in this blank spot right here, just write baptism. And we'll contact you. We'll get you set up. We'll get you connected and plugged into that. We also, in between the 2 services on Easter Sunday, we are having a huge kids Easter egg hunt. And I say huge because I have set up all the eggs before, and it is insane. So if you have nieces and nephews or cousins or little kids, bring them. It is insane. Okay, we have a lot of events going on. It's going to be a fun time for them. Make sure you're here. We're going to have good weather that Sunday. I'm saying it now, knowing we have snow outside. Okay, so it's going to go away, I hope. On Good Friday, we have always had a 24 hours of prayer, and we're doing that again this year. So we have a sign-up sheet on the back. Make sure you pick a time slot, and that's going to be here at the church. We're going to have kind of a designated area for you. We're going to have a list of prayers for you to go through. That's not mandatory. It just helps give you a guide, and that's kind of first come, first serve on who signs up for which hour slot. So if you know, hey, this is my schedule, and you want to hit a certain time, make sure you get there first. Okay, that's on the back. Make sure you sign up on the way out. This morning, we're going to run about an hour, maybe an hour 15. We got to catch a flight. Me and Allie do right after this, so I'm not going to go long. I'm telling you that now. Going to Arizona. It's 90 degrees there right now. Getting out of the snow. Sorry, not sorry. With that being said, I'm preaching this morning, so if you're kind of groaning and you're like, oh man, leave now. That way you don't hurt my feelings when you do it later. Okay? But I like the message this morning. It's been beating me up all week, but it's fun. It's encouraging, so I hope you guys like it. And I'm going to turn it back over to the band, and they're going to lead us in a couple songs. Go ahead and stand with us.
The weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. When the darkness falls, it won't prevail. 'Cause the God I serve knows only how to triumph. My God will never fail. My God will never fail. I'm gonna see a victory. see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. There's power in the mighty name of Jesus. Every war he wages, he will win. I'm not backing down from any giant. I know how this story ends. Yes, I know how this story ends. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord.
Death could not hold you, the veil torn before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good. You turn it for good. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see a victory, I'm gonna see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. Who am I that the highest King would welcome? I was lost, but he brought me his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. His grace runs while I was a slave to sin. Jesus died for me. yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Yes, I am who you say I am. Who the sun sets free, oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Let's pray. Father, may you give me the words to say this morning. May you give us the ears to hear. And may you open our hearts to the message that you have prepared for us. May we be encouraged. May we be challenged. May we be leaving this room, leaving this building more like your son. May we be on mission to change this community and take it by storm in your name. I pray this in your name. Amen. All right, find 3 people around you and say, why is it still snowing?
Well, as you guys are all finding a seat, we're going to continue to worship by bringing to God our tithes and our offerings. So at this point in time, I need every one of you to grab the connection card that you filled out earlier in the service. And as the offering baskets are being passed by here in a moment, just drop these right in the offering basket. But before you do, if you are someone that wants to get baptized on Easter Sunday morning, on the back side of the card, in that big white spot right there, you want to get baptized and take your next step in following Jesus, write the word baptism right in there. We'll contact you and we'll get you scheduled to talk to me first of all, and then we'll get you ready for baptism on Easter Sunday in one of our 2 services. So guys, if we're ready, why don't we come on down and walk the baskets around and pass them around, and as we do, you can drop the offering, you can drop this right in there. You can also give at this point in time by dropping it in the offering basket, or you can check the details that are on the screen, and you can text to give, you can go to our website and give, you can also mail it in by way of a check if you want to continue to be faithful in bringing your tithe back to God. And I want to thank every one of you for giving here and allowing us to do big things both here and around the world for Jesus because of what you are bringing back to him by way of your tithes and your offerings. Well, at this point in time, it's my pleasure to announce to you your speaker this morning. Give a warm welcome to Tyler. Ty, come and speak God's word this morning.
Thank you. You guys are so nice. All right, we are continuing in our Multiply series. That's our discipleship series that we've been doing for the last several weeks. And if you missed last week, you missed a good one. I hope you've heard. I'm just going to give a quick, brief announcement. We're moving, and we're really excited about that. We have an awesome new building that we're looking to move into, and we haven't finalized and all that stuff yet. But if you missed last week, I'm sorry. Now you know. You got to be here. We have cool announcements and fun stuff going on, and PJ is always unpredictable. So I want to start this morning by talking about one of my favorite things to do, and I love watching movies. I don't know about you guys. I love watching movies. I love reading books because I love great stories, okay? And we're talking about great stories. We're talking like Gladiator, okay? That only got one person. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go stand over here by Matt the rest of the service, okay? We're talking like Rocky. Which one? Yes. Okay, Rocky 4 is the best one. I watched the second Creed again the other day because it was on TV, and those movies are good, right? You can't go bad with, wow. Smokey and the Bandit, okay. Going old school, great car. Yep. We're talking Miracle. If you're a classics fan, you gotta love the underdog story of somehow we beat the Soviet Union and Russia with a bunch of college kids who had never played together, and they were the world power at the time. And you know, who do you play for, right? It's a great story. We're talking Lord of the Rings. If you like adventure, because you have a character who is going on this adventure that makes absolutely no sense at all. Okay, he lives a very simple life. He lives in a little house because he's a little person, and he meets this really big dude with a huge beard and a cane. And then they go on this crazy adventure through really cool scenery, and then they go to bad places and fight bad people and find this weird little dude in a cave, right? That's a horrible description, but I love the story, right? I love the movie, okay? We're talking about great stories. I got to mention my favorite because it trumps everything, every other movie, every other story, and if you disagree with me, then you're wrong. Okay, I will die on this hill. I will argue it forever. There is a greatest movie of all time, and if you don't think that it's Remember the Titans, then you are wrong. Remember the Titans is the best movie ever made. It is one of the greatest stories ever. Not only because I'm a football fan, but just because of the nature of the story itself. So I'm going to give you a brief description. If you've never seen it, why? Okay. I'm going to tell you about what happens, then you need to go home and watch it. That's your homework. Go watch the movie. First and foremost, go watch the movie, right? Remember the Titans takes place in the end of segregation. So you have, they're in Virginia, and you have very much still separate societies. You have transportation for white people and for African-American people. You have separate bathrooms, you have separate drinking fountains, everything. You know, like you have to live over here so we can live over here. And at the end of segregation, they decided to make a high school, T.C. Williams High School, that combined a big all-white high school and a big African-American high school. They combined them and they made T.C. Williams High School. And this made people very mad. And it made people very uncomfortable, and they didn't know how to respond to it. They didn't know what to do. And with the all-white high school, they had a well-known, well-established coach who's on a track to go to the Hall of Fame. He's won national titles. The dude can coach football. And on the other side, I forget the name of the school. It's like George Washington High School or something. You have a coach who's taking the job. This would be his first year on the job, and he's got some experience playing AA ball, winning some titles down there, but this is a higher level. And they decided that when they merged, they're going to give the job to this African-American coach who, if we're being honest, based on credentials, is not qualified. Because you have a AA coach who's won a couple titles, but then you have a coach who's already played at this level who's won several titles. It's like trying to replace Bill Belichick. Okay, it's just hard to do, and I don't like the Patriots. Okay, and so they decided to give the job to Herman Boone, who's played by Denzel Washington. Right? Denzel Washington's hard to beat, and he does a phenomenal job. But what happens is he's able to take these boys and shape them into men. He's able to take the situation at hand and help them to come together and play as a team, even though they don't like each other at first. They hate each other. They don't want to see each other. They don't want to be in the same room as each other. They don't want to block for each other. They don't want to play in the same team as each other. And he takes this mess of a situation that he's given, and he forms these boys into men, and they go on and they play some football, and they play ball well. And they win the state title and the state championship, and they're able to catch the attention of the school, they're able to catch the attention of the community, and they're able to change the culture where they're at. And change it from a culture of hate to a culture where you are accepted, where you are cheered on, where you are loved and appreciated, and where white and black doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter the skin tone, because the boys are taught how to judge the heart and the soul of a man rather than the look of him. That's one of the lines. I didn't just come up with that. Okay, so if you haven't seen the movie, you need to go see the movie. But what would happen if the school never existed? What would happen if they decided they weren't going to combine and make T.C. Williams High School? What would happen if, even though they made the school, they said, you know what, we're going to take a few years off before we have the football team, before we have a program, wait for things to calm down a little bit, right? Would it still be a great story? Would it still be a great story if they knew and they grew, but they never went? I want to talk about one of my favorite stories, one of the best stories, and a story that I love to talk about. And that's you. That's your story. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about your story this morning. Because you have a great story. You have an amazing story. And we're going to pose the question with your story, what would happen if you know and you grow, but you never go? Okay, but before we do that, I got to preface by giving you a little encouragement by talking about how awesome your story is. Because maybe you're downplaying your story right now. You're thinking, you know what, Ty, you don't really know me. You don't know all the details behind me. You don't know my story. I don't need to know all the details. I don't need to. You still have an awesome story. You have an incredible story. And here's why. If we're going to talk about your story and we're going to talk about how great your story is, we're going to start at the beginning, right? You know, do the whole mystical Lion King 1.5. We have to go back before the beginning kind of a thing, right? So if you have your Bibles, go ahead and open to Genesis 1. It's on like page 3 of your Bible, right after the table of contents and right before you stop with the Roman numerals and the actual page numbers start. Okay? Go ahead and open to Genesis 1. That's where we're going to start this morning. And we're going to start at the very beginning because that's where every great story begins. Okay, are we there? Cool. I don't have slides for you this morning. I apologize. I was going to. It didn't happen. So I'm just going to repeat things, and if you're taking notes, write fast. I apologize. I don't have slides for you this morning. But I'm going to list off a couple of verses here, and I'm going to talk about why they make your story a great story. But let me get there. Stick with me for a second. Okay, we're going to talk about creation at the beginning and how God makes everything with a spoken word out of nothing, right? So we see a series of let there be statements where God says, let there be, and then he fills in the blank, and then bam, it's created, it's there, it exists. And so we're going to list several of these. So Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 2, he says, let there be sky, and boom, it appears. Now your translation might vary a little bit. I'm just kind of clarifying and summarizing. Genesis 1, 1 through 2 says, let there be light, and there's light. Genesis 1, 6 is let there be sky. Genesis 1:9 says, let there be the dry land. Genesis 1:11 is let there be vegetation and the green plants and all the trees and everything pop up. That's one of my favorite things about Michigan, by the way, is we have trees. You say, what's cool about that? You been to Ohio? They don't have trees. They see 3 trees and they're like, national forest. Bam. We have trees. Okay? Genesis 1, 14 through 18 is let there be the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets. Genesis 1, 20 through 23 is let there be the sea creatures and the birds of the air. Genesis 1, 24 through 25, let there be the beasts of the earth. You ever watch any of the Animal Planet shows on Netflix? Or the National Geographic shows? I love those. Why? I don't know. They have cool narrators. It kind of like soothes you and wants to put you to sleep, but you're like, whoa, when you're watching. No, just me? Okay, thank you. One person in the room, so I'm not crazy. Can you hear me now? Yes. Oh, cool. Sorry, that was popping, so we're just going to switch mics here and keep going. Okay, so we have this series of let there be statements, but he ends with the best one. He ends with a great story, and that is, let there be you. You see, God speaks, let there be over you, and he speaks with a power that is able to take nothing and have filling. So he's able to take a void and have filling. He's able to take emptiness and have filling. He's able to take what was formless and create form. right? So God speaking, let there be over you, is powerful enough to fill you when you were once empty, when you were once nothing. It's able to give you form and a shape when you were once formless. You see, in Genesis 1:2, it says, the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. And then the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. This word hovering shows a deep, a personal, and intimate relationship. And we don't hover over things, over people that we don't know, right? It's weird. You don't go up to somebody that you don't know and get that close and hover over them because it's creepy. I really hope you don't do that. Greeters, ushers, I really hope you don't do that, right? Because that would just be weird. And I'm not going to point anybody out, no matter what your status is, but if you hover over somebody that you don't know, if you get that close, you're going to make people uncomfortable. Because it is awkward to go and hover over somebody, to be that close and be in their personal bubble. Like, dude, personal space, right? We don't like hovering over things that we don't know. But this word shows a personal and intimate relationship, and God has desired that close, that personal, that intimate relationship with us since before he spoke, let there be over us, since before we even existed. So he has desired that relationship since before he made us. And then he made us in his image. He created us, and he spoke, let there be over us. Now, this is powerful because you were created for a purpose. You were created with the desire of an intimate, of a close, a personal relationship. And God spoke, let there be over you to fill you when you were once empty, to give you shape when you were once formless. You see, he does all of this, but he doesn't stop there because your story's not done. Your story's just getting started, just getting better. We want to have a greater story. Our story doesn't end there. There's no period at the end of that sentence and then, nothing. Our story's not over. In this series, we're talking about discipleship. And discipleship is just your walk with Christ. It's your journey. It's your growth. It's how you live, how you follow Jesus, right? And in order to understand this, in order to do this well, in order to have a greater story, we need to unpack the idea of discipleship. We need to learn what discipleship is. And if we're going to do that, we have to ask the question, what is more important, the information or the application? What's more important, the information or the application? Just to get a general survey here, how many people in the room love school? Very few. Y'all are brave. Easton, you love school? Okay, that's kind of surprising. How many of you hate school and you would rather go do something? How many of you just didn't vote? Yeah. We have to ask the question, what's more important, the information or the application? Now, this is going to get the attention of some of the people here. If you know how to build a house, and you think the information is more important, then that's where you're going to argue, that's what you're going to die on the hill. I know how to build a house. I can draw all the maps. I know how it works together. I know how you have to have the support frames and all this stuff, right? I know how to build a house. But if you're not the people that actually put the nails in the boards and build the house, then you're going to argue a different side, because I'm saying I build a house. Now, you can have all the plans you want to all day long, but I build the house. I know how to build the house. I put the nail in the board, I build the house. What's more important, the information or the application? My grandpa's here, he's an electrician. What's more important, the idea of electricity or Thomas Edison failing 2,000 times to create a light bulb? Because you can have ideas, you can have information all day long, but until you put it into practice, until you make it work, which is more important? I'm going on a plane this afternoon, flying to Arizona because it's warm and because I can. Haha. What's more, yeah, near. What's more important, the information, the research behind flight, figuring out how it works, how you have to catch the wind and have the power to take off from the ground, or the Wright brothers taking the first flight? Maybe. I got one more. What's more important? The idea of a sport that is superior to soccer in every way. Superior to soccer in every way. You're going to make rules. You're going to figure out how to do it. You're going to give us cool equipment and everything. You're going to say, go beat the crap out of each other at the beginning, right, before they change that. What's more important, the idea behind it or a man named Walter Camp who created American football? You see, I'm not arguing that the information is more important than the application, more along the lines of what Holly said. They go together. You can't have one without the other. You can't skip the information and just blindly act. But you can't take all the information, you can't take all the knowledge and then just stop there. Because if we're going to know, we're going to grow, and we're going to go, that requires information and application. And if you want to have a greater story, then we need to know, we need to grow, and we need to go. You see, we need to continue this discussion that we've had the last couple of weeks, and we're talking about discipleship. And discipleship without acts isn't really discipleship at all. You see, discipleship isn't meant to just be head knowledge. Now, head knowledge is important. The growth, the wisdom, knowing and growing is important. We can't skip that. But we need to put all of them together. We need to know, we need to grow, and then we need to go. We need to gather the information and utilize the information, but then our job doesn't stop. Jesus speaks, let there be over you, but he doesn't stop there. He desires a close, a personal, and intimate relationship with you. He created you in his image. He speaks, let there be over you, to pour into you, to fill you, to give you shape and form and purpose. But he doesn't stop there. Your great story is not done. So how do we do this? How do we go? How do we create a culture of discipleship? If we want to take this community and take the world by storm, we want to combine knowing, growing, and going. How do we do that? This morning, we're going to specifically talk about going. And our big idea for this morning is it's time to go. So if you're taking notes, again, I apologize, I don't have slides. Your big idea for this morning is it's time to go. And I'm going to give you some tools on how to do this. I'm going to come alongside you and assist you and give you a couple encouragements, a couple of ideas on how to create a culture of discipleship. Right? So the first thing that we need to do if we're going to create a culture of discipleship is we need to realize that first of all, we are servants of all. First of all, we are servants of all. Mark 10:45 says, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." We're going to know, we're going to grow, and we're going to go. This is the go. This is the go. And you want to know how to, it's right here, Mark 10:45. We need to realize that first of all, we are servants of all. Disciples are servants. You see, the word volunteer never appears in the Bible. It doesn't. The word disciple does. The word servant does. If we want to make a difference in our community, if we want to make a difference in the area that we're in, then we need to realize that we have to serve others. Some of you are really, really good at this, and I'm not going to call you out individually because you usually know who you are. But some of you guys are really, really good at this. You're selfless. You serve other people, even if it's at your expense, even if it's inconvenient. You don't know how. You're just there. You say, hey, I'm a body. Tell me what to do. Some of you are really, really good at this. I am not one of those people. I am not one of those people. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be very transparent, so don't judge me because some of you think this way too, right? But I'm young. I'm a dude. I have a truck. That's a bad combination. Because people come up to you. They're like, hey, you're young. You're in good shape. You have a truck. Help me move some rocks. I don't want to. Not only do I not want to physically help you move rocks, I don't want to put your rocks in my truck. I don't want to. People say, hey, you're young. You're in shape. You have a truck. Help me move. I don't want to. Moving is not fun. Stuff is heavy, and you always got to carry it upstairs. Right? You ever seen the Friends episode where they're like pivot and you're just stuck holding the couch forever? Yeah, it's heavy. And because you're young and That's the excuse they use. You always end up on the heavy end of stuff. So it's like, oh, you go down the stairs first, which means you hold all the weight for like 45 seconds at least. People say, hey, I need your help, fill in the blank. No. Again, don't judge me. I'm being transparent and honest up here. Now, I do because it's horrible to say no. Unless I have something else going on, then I don't feel bad, right? But I'm being honest. Don't judge me. I do because it's the right thing to do, because it's the nice thing to do, and because most of the time I can't think fast enough to come up with an excuse. Okay? But I am not by nature good at this. It's genetic, right? Throwing people in my family line under the bus. I have to work at it. I have to be intentional about it, because I am not one of those people who is always out there serving other people, not looking for anything in return. Some of you are. Some of you are very much wired that way. You're at everything. I don't know how you do it. I'd be tired just watching you. But I need to realize, so I'm not singling anybody out here. This is very much for me too. I need to realize that first of all, I am a servant of all. And if I am a disciple, and if I want to have a better story, and if I want to if I want to include the knowing in the growing with the going, then I need to realize that first of all, I'm a servant of all. And that means sometimes I do things I don't want to do. And that means sometimes I'm in uncomfortable situations because it's helping somebody else. First of all, we are servants of all. Number 2, how to create a culture of discipleship. Discipleship is always relational. Discipleship is always relational. You say, what does that mean? That means operate in the bubble that you are currently in. So the people around you, not physically in here at the moment, because some of you jump around and pick different seats every week, right? But that means the people that you see at work every day, or the people who live on your street that are your neighbors. Or if you're like me and you go to the gas station and somehow you always see the same people, it's kind of freaky. I don't really know how that works. Why do we all need gas at the same time? Right? Operate within the bubble that you are currently in. Talk to the people that are around you. So people that are in your family, people that live on your street, people that are in your community. You say, that means I know them. Uh-huh. We aren't comfortable talking about Jesus with people that we know. We'd rather talk to somebody that we don't know about Jesus, because that means they know nothing about us. That means we have nothing to lose, because we go back to our life the next day and we will never see them again. Now, talking to people that you don't know about Jesus is important, but talking to people that you do know is also important. Don't let your comfort determine someone's eternity. Because I would much rather have the people that I love, the people that I know, the people that I see every day be in heaven with me than have to live with the fact that I saw someone every day for years and never talked to him about Jesus. That requires us being uncomfortable. That requires us having to do things that we don't like doing. But discipleship is always relational. 1 Thessalonians 2:7-8 is going to paint a picture for us. It says, "Instead, we were like young children among you. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well." I love how they use the word, "we loved you so much." We loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. See, we weren't meant to do this thing called life alone. We're meant to be very relational, since before we were born in Christ, or God has desired a relationship with us. But how often can we say that we love someone so much that we got over our excuses, we got over our fears, we got over the unknown, to not only share the gospel with them, but to do life with them as well? It's a big question, but it's an incredible question. Because if we're going to put the knowledge with the acts, if we're going to know, we're going to grow, and we're going to go, then we need to be able to say that I love you so much, not only am I going to share the gospel with you, but I'm going to do life with you. Discipleship is always relational. Number 3, how to build a culture of discipleship. Be humble, stay hungry, and always hustle. Be humble, stay hungry, and always hustle. How many gym people we got in the room? Not like your name is Jim. Like how many people go to the gym? Or you have a home gym? Okay, a few of you. That is a good question. Have it and use it is different. If you go to the gym, or you have a gym, or you follow people who go to the gym on social media, you've probably seen this mantra somewhere. Be humble, stay hungry, always hustle. You say, hey, I read a lot of books. I read a lot of leadership books. That sounds familiar. Yep. It's the title of at least a couple leadership books. And it's a mantra. Be humble, stay hungry, always hustle. And I'm going to use this because it's very simple, it's very short, it's 6 words, and it's going to stick with us. And I can use it to help nail this down. So John 15:16 says, "You didn't choose me, I chose you. I appointed you to go and produce lasting fruit." So we're gonna break this down a little bit. The first one is be humble. Now, I know I poured into you at the beginning of this morning, and I'm not trying to take any of that away, because you are incredibly made, you are gifted, you are made with a purpose, made with a mission. God spoke, let there be over you, but don't let that get to your head. Don't let that get to your head, because yes, you have an incredible story. Yes, you are made in an incredible fashion, right? But don't let that get to your head. The disciples kind of struggled with this, at least at one point in time. And I'm not going to read the story. I'm going to just reference it and then talk about it a little bit. Luke 22:24 through 30. The disciples are walking with Jesus, and then they asked Jesus the question, because they had an argument that's kind of all guys do. They're like, they asked Jesus, which one of us is the best? You know, they're all kind of walking, puffing their chest out, strutting, doing the Conor McGregor. I really hope he didn't get that on camera, right? Which one of us is the best? And Jesus immediately humbles them, because it's not about us. Yes, you have a great story, but our story is not about us. Your story is not about you. My story is not about me. I talked in November about how our story should tell his story. Because although we are the tool that is being used, our story is not about us. Don't let it get to your head. Acknowledge that you are incredibly made, that you are gifted, that you have a purpose, that God spoke, let there be over you. Let it fill you with joy and consume you, but don't let it consume you to the point where you become egotistical, where you become self-centered, where you become privileged and you think that you deserve it or that you've earned it, because nothing that we can do can ever earn that. Stay hungry. You see, until the Father takes us home, we should always be learning, growing, and going. When I was at Lake Ann, they painted a picture for us. They talked about how they use cups. They said we are a cup full of life. And we are pouring out into these kids that we're with all week long. But if we don't have another cup pouring into our cup, then we get drained. And we run out of juice. And we get fatigued. And we get burnt out. We need to make sure that we are always knowing and growing, whether that's through church, whether that's through discipleship groups, whether that's through podcasts that you listen to. We need to make sure that we have a mentor, somebody pouring into us. That way our cup is never empty, so we can continue to pour out into other people. You see, we need to make sure that we are staying hungry, that we are chasing information, that we are chasing knowledge, that we are chasing wisdom. That way we can pair the knowing and the growing with the going. That way we can point our going in the right direction. Because if we are going, but we're going in the wrong direction, that's not very helpful. Right? We need to make sure that we stay hungry. The last one is we need to always hustle. There's no perfect circumstances. There's never a time where you're going to say, I am 100% comfortable with talking to somebody about Jesus. Now, you learn how to see the opportunity, but the fear, the uncomfort is always going to be there. Don't wait for tomorrow to do what you could have done today, because we're not promised tomorrow. Because there's no guarantee that we're going to see them tomorrow. There's no guarantee that we're going to have the opportunity tomorrow. We need to always hustle. It's the idea that you're still here, your story's not done. If we're going to have a greater story, then we must realize and understand that until we are no longer here, our story is not done. You say, I'm old. Yup. You're saying, I'm young. Yup. We can come up with excuses all day long. I can come up with excuses all day long. But one of my biggest fears is that I'm going to have to watch a replay of all the opportunities that I missed. And I'm going to have to answer for that. And it's going to be as silent as it is in here right now. That's a fear. I would much rather be uncomfortable and have the conversation than have to watch that replay. See, you have an incredible story. And what's awesome about your story is not only everything that's happened from your beginning point until now, but it's awesome that your story is not done. You see, we have a great story to tell. But we must combine the growing and the knowing and the growing with the going. The information is not more important than the application, but the application is not more important than the information. We have to combine them in order to point ourselves in the right direction. Discipleship is a never-ending process. We are always knowing and growing and going until God says, I'm going to take you home. And at that point, I hope he says to each and every one of you, well done, my good and faithful servant. We have an amazing story to tell. Will you tell your story? Will you talk to people, take advantage of an opportunity that's in front of you? God spoke, let there be over you. He said, let it be you. Will you use it? Will we take this community by storm? Let's pray. Father, I thank you for giving us an incredible story. I thank you for the relationship that you desired since before you even created us. I thank you for speaking, let it be, let there be over us. I thank you for taking what was once void and making it full, making it filling. Father, I pray that we would combine the information and the application and we'd put it to use and we would take this world by storm because you gave us a great story, but our story is not done. Father, I pray that this was encouraging. I pray that I was pouring into people. I pray that people will leave here changed and encouraged to not only continue to know, grow, and go, but they will continue to go out into their community and make a difference for you. I thank you for everybody here, Father. I thank you for the hearts that we have that are willing to learn and willing to be disciples. And I pray that we would continue to challenge each other and that we would continue to grow. Because we have great stories, but our story's not done. And I can't wait to watch what happens with the rest of your stories. Father, I pray this in your name. Amen.
Let's all stand and sing together.
I know they're empty, but with you they can be used for beauty in your perfect plan. All I am is yours. Take everybody.